Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Erin, and I'll be discussing managing Kate Wade's strategies for control environmental impact through looking at local case studies. A little housekeeping before we commence. Microphones will be off until the end of the presentation, where we'll then open up to the floor for a quick Q&A session. A copy of the presentation will be available for you to request at the closure of today's session. Kate Weed, Arctotheca calendula is an annual weed germinating within a few weeks of the autumn rain and throughout winter. In warm temperatures, the weed grows rapidly, smothering companion plants, flowering in late winter to early spring. Up to 4,000 seeds per annum are produced when the flower dies off in summer, dropping its seeds, which can remain dormant in the soil for several years, awaiting optimum conditions for germination. Ecological benefits include habitat for many insects found beneath the leaves, but these can be beneficial to agricultural crops, attracting bees and other pollinating insects. Cateweed also reduces erosion, maintaining soil temperature and microbes, and its presence is an indication of monoculture due to acidic soil, compactations, waterlogging, salinity, or a need for more organic matter to re-establish diversity. The ecological benefits outlined previously do not outweigh the herb's negatives within certain environments. Cateweed harms the environment more than it helps. It invades and reduces plant diversity, affects agricultural productivity, and perseveres in fire due to high seed numbers. When consumed by cattle in large quantities or whilst at high nitrate levels, particularly post-drought, it can lead to nitrate poisoning in cattle, resulting in illness or death. Governments agree that it is a pest and needs to be controlled. The herb. A case study was conducted on Windermere, a cattle agistment property in Tangel South. This property has been used for hobby farming under previous owners and therefore Cateweed established. The property has previously experienced mismanagement due to lack of education and knowledge around cateweed. However, under current management, new sustainable control methods have been implemented, of which we will explore throughout this presentation. Majority of the property is agricultural farmland consisting of herbaceous pastures that are predominantly composed of non-Indigenous species used for cattle. Additional areas of vegetation consist of a variety of natives and an orchard growing citrus, fruit and vegetables. The ecological significance this diversity brings is a balanced and abundant ecosystem for native birds, invertebrates, reptiles and mammals to thrive. The property's bioregion is classed as Highland Southern Fall, with the ecological vegetation class is 191 riparian scrub. The description of swampy scrub and woodland is fitting for the dam surrounds, as there are large reeds and small native bushland paddock consisting of varied eucalypts, wattles and blackwoods extending out from the dam and forming habitat corridors. The Bushbank Carbon Value and Biodiversity Value ranking map states the property to have a high biodiversity rating, indicating the property to deliver biodiversity and carbon benefits to the environment. Financial impacts include increased expenses for machinery, equipment, and topical treatments, as well as affecting prices for agistment, a number ahead of cattle housed on the property, thus lessening its appeal. Often, management methods involve herbicides can result in negative impacts to the biodiversity of paddocks. Severe illness and death to cattle when ingested at certain times of the season or in quantities of certain levels can occur in short windows of time due to continual grazing. In spring, nitrate levels are dangerously high, posing an increased risk to pregnant cattle. Rapid spread of cateweed across bare or unhealthy pastures, suppressing preferred vegetation. Additional impacts are to non-targeted species on the property, including dung beetles and worms. No direct threat or effect, however, depending on the herbicide used and concentration, there can be effect to their life cycle and other soil organisms that aid healthy topsoil production. Cattle, as stated, when consumed in high levels and at time when nitrate levels are higher, nitrate poisoning can occur. If cateweed is predominant vegetation for feed, continual grazing can cause poisoning or death. To treat poisoning, farmers are advised to carry bicarbonate soda to neutralize the poison. For fast administration should a cow display signs of distress, including excessive residual heat, shaking, muscle tremors, or rapid breathing, and contact their vet immediately. Ryegrass, cateweed will spread tillers across the top of the soil, smothering ryegrass shoots and outcompeting it. Subclover, similar to ryegrasses, cateweed will smother it. Also, if broadleaf herbicides are used for cateweed, it can also kill the subclover, which is also a broadleaf variety. The best time to control cateweed is mid to late winter when the paddocks are less productive and more work can be done. Applying lime to the soil can neutralize its acidity and make it less favorable for cateweed growth. This can be done during the calving season along with adding urea, cow and chicken manure and cultivating the soil to improve its health. To establish preferred plants such as Italian ryegrass, subclover and other self-seeding rye varieties, drilling can be used to distribute the seeds and remove the cateweed roots. This way, the desired plants can grow better and outcompete the cateweed, reducing the risk to pregnant cattle. Mowing and grazing can also help to manage the cateweed population. However, the paddock should only be included in a 14-day rotation system if the cateweed is not too mature or abundant. Otherwise, it should be mowed heavily to allow the ryegrass and subclover to dominate. A gradual and careful approach will ensure optimal results for spring. Cateweed management and monitoring should be done every year, paying attention to its life cycle stages. The timing of its germination and flowering may vary depending on the season, but usually occurs from late February to early August. Careful consideration and research into your chosen management strategy is imperative to protecting non-target species, soil health, insects, good bacteria and crops. The wrong herbicide or overzealous application can cause damage. Cateweed broad tillers will spread across the top of establishing plants, native or pastures, smothering their growth and competing for water, nutrients and light. If fertilizer is spread, cateweed will benefit more than other vegetation or soil. When calving, the cows will consume up to 17% more feed than normal. Therefore, it is imperative to monitor the maturity and abundance of cateweed to prevent poisoning. Cateweed can also taint milk quality and flavour, reducing market value and consumer acceptance. Before managing cateweed, check laws, risks, biodiversity and consult others. Nationally, the Australian Weed Strategy for pest management guidance and coordination. State laws, policies or programs do vary, but for Victoria, cateweed is a regionally controlled weed. Landowners and managers must limit and control it, consulting neighbours before spraying herbicide to protect organic farming. Flora and Fauna Guarantee Act, landowners must protect habitat and listed species or communities, contacting DECA if they're unsure. Local land care groups are a good source for guidance, support and funding. Reduce the risk of introducing cateweed to cateweed-free areas by ensuring to wash down machinery and equipment between sites. Be strategic and use an integrated approach that combines chemical and non-chemical control methods. The difficulty of preventing cateweed from flowering and setting seed before treatment, which can increase its spread and persistence, is why timing is crucial. It is necessary to follow up treatments to ensure effective removal of cateweed, as it can regenerate from root fragments or seeds. Additional limitations is if the farmer chooses to bring in external feed sources, there is a potential biosecurity risk that the feed could be contaminated by cateweed present on other properties. The cost-benefit analysis was undertaken to seek further information. Current farm manager Colin prefers the recommended control method of combining liming and improvements to obtain optimal soil conditions to allow breast production and growth rates for preferred paddock. Vegetation of ryegrass and subclover. The soil is commonly viewed to be a considerable asset to the farm, and investing in lime and pH levels ensure species such as subclover and ryegrass have optimal growing conditions, especially as they are acid sensitive. This is taken into consideration along with the properties adjustment agreement when completing a cost benefit analysis. An average of 2 paddocks per year may require maintenance with the use of liming at a cost of $70 per tonne and an application of 2 tonnes per hectare. This expenditure was considered with general maintenance expenses as catered for by the landowners and the revenue brought in from successful adjustment. The adjustment fee per annum covers the maintenance expenses for items such as cultivator, mower, and fuel at 9% per annum. The adjustment fee caters for 100 heifers and 50 calves on the property, with revenue received annually at approximately $17,000. The cost was deemed to be highly justified as the benefit of running sizable herd of cattle for a small pasture maintenance fee is greatly beneficial. An added benefit is the positive effect the management plan will have for the soil. It is highly recommended the proposed management plan be implemented by the farm manager and updates delivered to the landowners as regular meetings where farm business is discussed. Through targeted management techniques conducted annually, catweed is managed through a sustainable control method, making it environmentally, economically, and socially sound. Thank you for listening. I hope this information has assisted you in how you can manage keep weight on your own property. We will now open up the mics and a Q&A chat for any questions.